All right, so I've had a lot of comments from people on the video about reading headstones using a mirror, about things like using shaving cream or putting some water on it or cleaning the stone or using chalk, using flour, things like that. And I just want to address this because a lot of these comments say, you just put it on the stone and you take your picture and then the rain will rinse it off or things like that, that same nature. First of all, the best case scenario is that you don't have to touch the stone at all to read it. So anytime you have a method that you can use without touching the stone, that's going to be your best case, the best thing you can do. In the case that you have to touch the stone to be able to read it, putting a little bit of water on it or putting some water on it and rubbing your hand over it, things like that, you always want to have permission to do that. There's another method that is used with using tin foil and something soft. I like to use like a paint roller, clean, fluffy paint roller. You put the tin foil over the stone and you roll the paint roller up it. It presses the tin foil into the low spots on the stone so you can take that tin foil off and read it. Works really well. You always want to have permission from somebody to do that to a stone, because unknowingly you could go up to put the tin foil on the stone. It could be unstable, it could fall over, you could cause damage. The thing with things like shaving cream, chalk, flour, things like that, there is always going to be residue left over from those. Shaving cream has oils and emollients that are meant to keep your skin soft and condition your skin during shaving. Those things will get into the stone and make a place for things to kind of like a little safe haven or a little harbor for things to grow. Those are things that you're not easily going to get out of the stone after you wash the shaving cream off. Chalk, a lot of people have been saying just rub a stick of chalk across the face and it'll highlight everything but the low points. The problem with chalk is that chalk is a very similar hardness to marble, and you're then grinding two things that are similar hardness together. You're causing damage to one or the other, and a lot of times these stones are very fragile and you can cause damage to the stone and not only leave chalk behind on it. Secondly, that chalk gets into the pores of the stone. It's very hard to remove. A lot of people think rain will remove it. It comes off your driveway, but it won't remove all of it. The other thing too is rubbings. So a lot of people have been saying you take a piece of paper and you take like a pastel or something and draw on the paper, or you can use like charcoal. That was a really common practice even when I was young, back in the 90s. A lot of school field trips did that type of stuff, but it's been found that, especially on older headstones that have had rubbings done repeatedly on them for 30, 40, 50 years, that it does cause a lot of wear and tear, especially over the names and dates, because sometimes that's all people want to do is go and get a name and date off of a headstone. And it's causing a lot of wear in those areas where it's not wearing in other areas. So these are all things that you want to kind of stay away from. If you can easily just shine a flashlight or use a mirror to shine sunlight on it, or just go on a day after it rained if you want to see it when it's wet. Those things are all things that you're not going to physically touch the stone and possibly cause harm to it. So we need to get away from, throwing flour on stuff and rubbing chalk on it. These are all things that I see really commonly happen a lot. Just in my local cemetery, I've gone and seen pink chalk, and I don't know why it's always pink. For some reason, it's always pink. But we need to get away from these things that are causing damage to these headstones and start using smarter, easier ways to read these stones that don't involve us touching them.